people of the internet! Welcome back to another video. It is I, Don Thomas, back in here with another one. As always, folks, the likes, the comments, the subscribes are all greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for the support on this channel. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into today's topic, folks. I got a video pulled up here. It comes from CNBC, in which they entitled the video, Why the US Government Can't Convince Americans to Have Kids. I wonder why that is. First of all, I didn't know that we were looking to the U.S. government to convince us to have kids. I thought that's something that people did off their own volition and will and desire to do. But let's get into this video, folks. Of course, this is an interesting topic, of course. I always try to speak on things that offer some take-home value, something that's a little bit thought-provoking, of course. And this is right up the alley of the things that I like to speak on this channel. Of course, as you know, we speak about philosophy, self-improvement, and the culture. So let's get a little bit of insight from this video, again, from CNBC. I'll share my thoughts. I encourage you guys to share your thoughts down in the comment section below. Let's get into it.
America's fertility rates are hovering around historic lows, with approximately 1.6 births per woman over her lifetime. This is below the level needed to sustain the population, which is 2.1 births per woman.
We're actually projecting that about 1 in 4 young adults today will never have kids. There are plenty of us out there who are kind of concerned about the falling birth rate, both for kind of its impact on people's ordinary lives, as well as for the ways in which it'll affect our economy and our government.
And we will support baby bonuses for a new baby boom. How does that sound? That sounds pretty good. I want a baby boom.
Our population will in the not too distant future start to decline. And so that's why this is an issue for governments and for the economy, and politicians are starting to pay attention.
The concern here in the US is that if we see kind of dramatic declines in fertility, we will eventually see also kind of a drag on our economy and our capacity to cover all sorts of government programs like Medicare and Social Security.
Our population is sort of getting older on average. And what that means is we have the baby boomers who are, in their older age years. So they are drawing Social Security, and they also have quite a bit of medical and care needs. And so the question is, how will we care for our aging population?
It's very hard in modern US society to combine work and having kids. We have very little by way of support to families in this country.
Here's why the government can't seem to convince Americans to start families.
Let's pause it right there real quick, folks. Very interesting intro thus far. Again, this video comes from CNBC. The video is entitled, Why the US Government Can't Convince Americans to Have Kids. Very interesting topic, folks. Very interesting topic. They covered on a lot of different things in there. Who's going to care for the aging senior citizens? What does it mean for population growth? What does it mean for the economy? What does it mean for... They touched on a lot of different topics, of course. And, of course, I was kind of just processing my thoughts as I was watching this video as well, too. I, of course, have shared on this platform numerous times my whole stance on having children personally within my life. Of course, I'll share my POV for those who may not be aware. I'm in my mid-30s, single, no children, and I don't plan on having any children that I know of at the moment moving forward. So that's kind of how I kind of view the world right now. Marriage and children right now, again, I've spoken on that on this platform before as well too. Marriage, I feel like that's an institution or a concept in itself that we should maybe revisit. And children, childbearing, bringing children into this godforsaken world is another idea another philosophy that I hold as well too. I do believe that I've mentioned on this platform before that I have subconsciously, I guess, become what is called an antinatalist. Antinatalism or antinatalist are the people who believe that it is inherently or morally wrong to bring children into a world that is decaying, is dying, is troublesome, is evil, is cruel, is, harsh in resources and civility, I guess you can say. So that's my thoughts, of course, in general. So I see a topic like this, I see a video like this, of course, it kind of strikes my interest. Again, on the flip of that, I can also admit in saying that people do find fulfillment in having children. People do hold marriage and having kids as a virtuous endeavor to take on in their human lifespan, whether they have them young, whether they have them old, 1 kid, 2 children, whatever the case is. I do know that is an aspiration that society has deemed very, very worthy, right? And I'm not taking that away from anybody. Of course, if you're somebody who subscribes to that idea as well too, and you too want to have children, then of course take anything that I say with a grain of salt. So that's very interesting, of course. I want to get back into this video. Of course, again, share your insights down in the comment section below. Let's get into it.
When birth rates fall, it affects the entire economy.
One of the big drivers of economic growth is just having more people in your society, more consumers, more workers, more taxpayers. In East Asia and countries like Japan, for instance, that have seen below replacement fertility for a long while and are now actually just shrinking demographically.
What's interesting, though, is that the lever that we are trying to force on people now is people should have more children, so that then eventually, 20 years from now or so, we'd have more workers who would then be paying into it. It doesn't seem like a very efficient system to me because it doesn't solve the short-term solvency problem.
Leaders across the U.S. political spectrum have proposed ways to address the birth rate decline.
You've got Elon Musk, who is essentially having the ear of the president and in the White House, and he's very much interested not only in increasing birth rates, but this notion that the best and brightest should really be reproducing. And then you have someone like J.D. Vance.
So let me say very simply, I want more babies in the United States of America.
Who have, I would say, a more sort of religiously or conservatively oriented bent about this. So it's not just about increasing births, but it's about increasing births within sort of a traditional family. So marital status is really important to this group.
We had the Democrats pushing really hard for an expanded child tax credit. Now the Republicans come out with something called a baby bonus. That's what the New York Times reported. That would be $5,000 allegedly at the time a child is born. This is a pretty common policy in other countries, that there's some extra child allowance, child tax credit, baby bonus sent to parents when they have a newborn. Having a newborn is expensive.
Both political parties have proposed policies that provide money to families either in the form of direct cash or tax refunds. But experts say one-off proposals are not likely to move the needle for families.
Pause it right there, folks. Why does the U.S. government want you to have children? To boost the economy. So there could be more workers to attend to the labor in the workforce. And hey, we'll give you $5,000, one-time payment of $5,000 upon the birth of your child as an incentive for you to do so. Folks, I'm watching this and I'm trying to remove my emotional thoughts and ideologies of it. It's making me a little bit mad because I see something like this, of course, and on the flip side, these same people, of course, these government politicians or whatever the case is, on the flip of that, they'll turn around and say, hey, guys, AI booms and jobs are being lost and we're turning to the robots to do this. We're turning to the robots to do that. So you want us to have more humans. You want us to bring more humans into this world to increase the population. But on the flip of that, you're taking jobs and basic necessities and resources away from the humans that you want to have implemented to this world. It sounds like it's a little bit hypocritical, right? It sounds like it's a little bit of a catch-22, I guess, as they say, if I'm not mistaken. Like, which one is it? On one side, of course, again, you'll hear that there's too many humans. Do the research, folks. The stats are out there. I've come across articles and people that, of course, are more knowledgeable in this topic than I am, who've mentioned that there's too many humans and the humans are taking up too much resources. So all these illnesses and sicknesses and people mysteriously just getting sick and heart disease and cancers and this, that, and the other, it's a way to curb and kind of put a limit on the capacity or the, I guess you could say, the extent of how much we're depending upon these resources. Of course, the electrical grid, the carbon monoxide, and this, that, and the other things that they'll say. It's like it's almost two different narratives is basically what I'm saying. So which one is it? Is it too many people on the planet or there's not enough people on the planet, right? And then, of course, assuming that you're incentivizing people to have more children and bring more children to this population, bring them here to do what? To come struggle? To struggle to find jobs? To struggle to have health insurance and childcare for said children that you want to incentivize people to have more of? It's like, what's the solution? Is everything just about money? You just need more laborers and more people to take care of the old folks when they get old. You see, I'm just a little bit uneased about this whole topic because it's just like the world doesn't seem inviting for us to be bringing more children into this world anyway, in my personal POV. Now, again, somebody on the flip of this will watch this video and say, nah, I agree 100%. We need more laborers. We need more workers. We need more this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. But I don't know. From the lens I'm looking, I don't know where you're at in the world where you're watching this. I don't know what your current situation is publicly, but trying to remove your own biases, and I'm trying to do the same as well, to remove my own biases from this whole topic. I would assume that we need to figure out the world and the status of the world and the direction this world is going in with the humans that we have here already. So for us to be saying, let's bring more humans into a society that I've said more than once, I think is decaying, seems a little bit strange to me. What's this rush and what's this incentive to bring more humans into this planet and we don't have our shit together, from my personal observation? With, again, AI threats and power grid and all the things that you hear are happening in the world right now, is this an ideal time to incentivize people to have more kids? Bring them on to do what, in my personal opinion? Of course, this video looks like it goes on a little bit more. I think they have other reasons as to why people should be having kids. What was the chart? I think they were going to speak on some other things as well too. Incentives, of course, we heard one of the incentives already that they're talking about was a $5 baby bonus or baby check or baby bonus, or whatever the case is, to incentivize parents to have children. Is that enough? Will one $5,000 paycheck aid in the development of an actual human for the next 18, 21, 25 years of their life? How long will that $5,000 last you as an incentive or reward for you bringing the child into this world? I don't know. There's other interesting numbers, folks. Of course, again, you see these politicians that they're talking about. Trump is talking about, yeah, let's bring more babies. Your man Vance here saying, let's bring more babies. Again, from my POV, the world has a lot of things to get in order first. The world right now, the current moment of the world, from where I'm sitting, we got a lot of things that we should probably take care of first before we start telling people to bring more children into this world. That's just me personally. But hey, some people will rebuttal, and you're okay to that. You're free to have your opinions as well too. Of course, I always encourage you guys to share your opinions down in the comment section below. But from where I'm sitting, folks, in the year 2025 here in America specifically, I think there's a lot of things that we need to pump the brakes on for a moment, and see that we get our affairs in order before we start telling people to bring more humans into a sinking ship. Folks, I've said this before. I feel like America right now is the Titanic that's already hit the iceberg. So would you invite your friends on a sinking ship? Hey guys, let's invite more people over. We already hit the iceberg. Water's already seeping in. Yeah, we might still be afloat for now, but we've hit the iceberg. Water's already starting to seep in. You want to bring more people on the sinking ship? Shouldn't we patch up the hole first and make sure that our path is clear to not hit any more icebergs? Or do you want to all just acknowledge that we've hit an iceberg, water sinking in, but let's bring more humans on the boat as well too? To go where? To do what? Is my personal POV. But folks, of course, those are my thoughts. I encourage you guys to share yours down in the comment section below. Of course, I'll leave the link to the full video if you want to check this out a little bit more. What are your thoughts, folks? Do you think now is the time to be bringing in more children to the planet? Are you somebody who doesn't have children, but maybe you're considering having children? What are your thoughts on that? What's your POV of the world right now? I've shared my thoughts. I don't want my thoughts and my opinions to sway you guys to think one way or another. But of course, I'm just bringing these to the forefront of our thoughts so you can have your own discussions. You can come up and formulate your own ideas, right? But from where I'm sitting, folks, as I've said, of course, I think we should figure out some things first before we start challenging people and pressuring people to do things just because society says we need to do it. What do you want to do? Those are my thoughts. Of course, I want to hear yours down in the comment section below. As always, the likes, the comments, the subscribes are all greatly appreciated. I will catch you on the next one.